Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around $40. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Yo, what up, brothers? It's the Director. Chargers fans, you guys ready to talk a little bit more Chargers football? My God, it's June. It's June. We got a ways to go, but I think the expectations are starting to rise a little bit for this team. The hype is starting to become a little bit more apparent for this team. The Chargers got themselves a brand new quarterback, Justin Herbert, won Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. We got ourselves a quarterback. The Chargers went out and hired Brandon Staley, one of the best analytical minds in the NFL. We got ourselves a head coach. I think it's all right. It's all right to start getting excited about this Chargers team, but there's another player I feel like the hype is slowly starting to build for, and his name is Uchenna Nwosu. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, you watch this channel a lot, you've heard me talk about Uchenna Nwosu. This guy is going to break out in 2021. The expectation is there. And honestly, the reason I'm even covering this topic today is because I was roaming around on Twitter and I saw this. Per Chargers Wire, Chargers Uchenna Nwosu is watching Rams Leonard Floyd film to get familiar with the new role. And I retweeted and said, I freaking love this. You know, some people are like, Director, I mean, this isn't anything new. When a guy comes in with a new system, of course the player's going to try and study the guy who had success in that system last year. Of course. But it got me thinking about Uchenna Nwosu and the reason why he's going to take this leap in 2021. And of course, we're talking about Brandon Staley and his influence, his genius perspective on defense, and helping Uchenna Nwosu become that guy. In order to fully understand why the hype is building around Uchenna Nwosu and the potential of him becoming, honestly, a double-digit sack kind of guy this year, really lies in the narrative of Brandon Staley and what he's done in the past and what he can do now with the personnel the Chargers are going to provide on defense. Very, very exciting stuff, guys. Before we do get into this one, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. 30,000 strong and growing. Who says there's no Chargers fans? And with that, let's get into this one. Lights, camera, action. Why Uchenna Nwosu will break out in 2021. God, I love these kinds of videos. You know, I talk about something a lot over the course of a couple of different videos, these breakout lists and whatever. Now I get to really focus in on Uchenna Nwosu and tell you guys why I feel like he's going to be a huge impact player for 2021. Let's talk a little bit about our new, brand new head coach, Brandon Staley. The Chargers had a couple opportunities this season to go out and sign a veteran edge rusher. Maybe if they weren't too confident in Uchenna Nwosu, we would have gone out and signed somebody, maybe even drafted somebody a little bit higher. Of course, we did get Chris Rumpf, but I do think that he's going to provide a different sort of role for the Chargers. Uchenna Nwosu is apparent to me that he's the guy for Brandon Staley. He saw Uchenna Nwosu, he saw the potential. He said that's going to be the guy rushing opposite Joey Bosa this season. Now, Brandon Staley is no stranger to this concept of having one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. Of course, I'm talking about Joey Bosa. Back in his early career, he did coach outside linebackers for the Bears. And of course, back then, you're talking to yourself, who's the best edge rusher in the NFL? A lot of people were thinking about Khalil Mack. Insane talent out there with the Bears, and he did take that defense a long way back then. The Bears defense absolutely been so good for a long time. He then moved on to the Denver Broncos, where he got himself a slice of Von Miller, who again, I think at that time they brought in Bradley Chubb, absolutely lethal pass rushing unit out in Denver. Of course, Chargers fans very familiar with this, been something we've had to deal with for a long time. Then he moves on to the Los Angeles Rams as defensive coordinator. He's got himself an Aaron Donald, which is absolutely insane. And he's definitely moved on to another team that has similar personnel with Joey Bosa. Everywhere that Brandon Staley has been, the edge rushers have had superstars on that line, man. It's been absolutely insane. But where I think some people forget is the Batman and Robin concept to those edge rushers. Leonard Floyd being the Robin to the Batman of Aaron Donald. These guys sometimes get forgotten about because of those superstars on the line. And I do think if you've got yourself a good Robin, man, that Batman can take you very, very far. And Brandon Staley, I feel, is one of those guys that definitely understands this. But Leonard Floyd wasn't always the Leonard Floyd that he is today. Back when he was first drafted by the Chicago Bears, the expectations were pretty high. But after a while, things started to sizzle out. Of course, his rookie season, 7 sacks, 33 tackles in only 12 games. He was looking pretty solid. People were very excited. Then after that, he just started to dwindle off a little bit. 4 sacks, 3 sacks. You know, pretty decent in the tackle category, but a lot of people were feeling he wasn't living up to his expectations as far as his draft capital, right? Then in 2019, the Chicago Bears decided, you know what, maybe it's time for us to part ways. He moves on to 2020. Hallelujah. Reunited with defensive genius Brandon Staley. And then in this season, we can all consider this the breakout year for Leonard Floyd. He was okay, right, for a while in Chicago. But when he came to the Rams, man, double-digit sacks, 55 tackles, forced fumbles. This guy was all over the field making an impact for this team. And of course, Leonard Floyd, shortly after that, definitely got himself a huge payday with the Rams. He proved himself to be a vital piece of that defense. And even with Coach Staley departing to the Chargers, they decided to pay him up and keep him in Los Angeles with the Rams. And I do think a lot of that does come down to the impact that Brandon Staley had on him as a player. He knew where to place him on the field. He knew teams were going to be double and triple teaming Aaron Donald. He decided, okay, let's go ahead and use that as ammunition to give Leonard Floyd some room to break through. And of course, we saw the Leonard Floyd we saw last season. Insane season for him. Some would say it got overshadowed by Aaron Donald a little bit, but not really. He was kind of the talk of the town this last offseason as far as one of the best edge rushers to go and grab in free agency. And the Chargers had a shot at it. The Chargers had a shot at grabbing him, and they decided not to. Why did they decide not to, guys? I think it's, again, because the Chargers already recognize they've got their own Leonard Floyd on the roster. And the man that created that narrative for Leonard Floyd is about to do it again for Uchenna Nwosu. I don't think Uchenna Nwosu is that bad of a player at all, guys. Let's take a look at some of his stats the past couple of seasons. When on the field, I think it's pretty apparent that Uchenna Nwosu's got a lot of talent. Back then, let's see, from 2018 to 2020, he's been all right statistically. 3.5 sacks, 2 sacks, 4.5 sacks, decent tackles. But you really got to remember that the Chargers, in a different scheme, in a different head coaching world, they weren't, in my opinion, utilizing Uchenna Nwosu to his full potential. As a matter of fact, they weren't really utilizing Uchenna Nwosu that much at all. You guys will go back in time, you'll see some articles of, oh my God, Nwosu finally plays, and then look at him, he's already starting to make some impacts for the team. I think they said in his first 2 snaps, he got a sack, which is pretty impressive. But what I really want you guys to pay attention to is the snap count for Uchenna Nwosu. Back then, let's see, 26% with the Chargers. I think this was 2018. Let's go back in time again. 2019, Uchenna Nwosu, 37%. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. But for the kind of needs that this team has had the past couple of years, with the kind of talent that I've seen in Uchenna Nwosu, I've often asked myself, why? Why isn't Uchenna Nwosu getting more opportunity? We often talk to Coach Lynn through our live game reactions of, Coach, where's Uchenna Nwosu? Why isn't he in there? Especially last season, guys. Last season, Uchenna Nwosu had all the opportunity in the world. I should have had all the opportunity in the world to step in lieu of Melvin Ingram's injury. Melvin Ingram wasn't out there. And we had a guy in Uchenna Nwosu who I felt was ready to step up into that role. And for whatever reason, he still didn't. I think his percentage was still somewhere around 37-38% for the 2020 season. That, to me, was a huge head-scratcher of the 2020 Chargers. Why? Why not use Uchenna Nwosu? Now, on top of that, Uchenna Nwosu, we've talked about the Brandon Staley effect. He took Leonard Floyd, turned him into a superstar. I think this new scheme change for the Chargers, of course, switching from 4-3 to 3-4, which on the surface isn't exactly what they're doing, but it is what they're doing, is going to help Uchenna Nwosu quite a bit. Playing outside linebacker, edge, Brandon Staley, we don't want to offend anybody, is going to benefit him quite a bit because you can move him around a lot, right? You can disguise things a lot easier. Coach Brandon Staley has been pegged as a defensive genius for how he disguises his blitzes, how he disguises the pressure, how he disguises his coverage. And I feel like that had a big impact on guys like Leonard Floyd last season. Leonard Floyd, of course, going from the Bears system into the system with Brandon Staley. Of course, he probably helped build that system, Vic Fangio and all that kind of stuff. He just made it work very, very well with the personnel that he had in Los Angeles. And of course, I think that same system exists with the Los Angeles Chargers. Last season, Leonard Floyd really did break out the Batman, the Robin. Things were working out really well. Uchenna Nwosu with the Chargers, I feel like is being put in a very, very similar situation as Leonard Floyd did the last couple of seasons. Leonard Floyd, man, the story of Leonard Floyd and Brandon Staley's influence on that really does get me excited. Because all of a sudden, teams are going to be looking at guys like Joey Bosa, like they have for the past several years, and said, we got to throw resources at stopping him. But the Chargers in the past, they really leaned a lot on Melvin Ingram to be the other guy. The guy that takes pressure off of Joey Bosa. The guy that breaks through for the sack when Joey Bosa is just, there's no way he's going to get through. I feel like Uchenna Nwosu in this system, disguise coverage, disguise pressure, is going to have a lot more opportunity than even Melvin Ingram did in the past. Because for as good as the Chargers defensive, or as good as the Chargers edge rushers were for the past couple years with Melvin Ingram, even, not counting last season, I don't feel like the Chargers got nearly enough pressure. And I feel like it's not due to the lack of talent from the players, but the lack of creativity from the coaching staff. Gus Bradley had some things that he brought to the table that were good. A lot of things that he adapted from the Seahawks system that worked well with our personnel. But the league changes really fast, and the league figures things out really fast. I feel like Coach Staley is definitely the kind of guy that understands how to adapt to that sort of change and put his players, regardless of what we call the meta in the gaming world or in the Madden world, whatever's working a lot for a lot of NFL teams, Brandon Staley is going to be the counter to that. And I feel like that's why Uchenna Nwosu is going to be placed in the best possible position to succeed. People double teaming Joey Bosa, being placed in the right place at the right time, being in a defensive scheme that, and all around is going to be more intelligent, is going to benefit Uchenna Nwosu. Again, the Chargers had the opportunity to go get a different guy. They saw the same kind of talent in Uchenna Nwosu that the fans have for so many years. I think it's finally time that the Leonard Floyd narrative be adapted to Uchenna Nwosu, and Brandon Staley is going to take him very, very far. Also, we cannot forget that this is a contract year for Uchenna Nwosu. I think this is the time that if he's going to break out, it's got to be this season. And I think if there's any opportunity for him to break out, it's now. Out of all the teams in the NFL, there's a lot of great and brilliant defensive minds out there. I think we got one of the best in Brandon Staley. And so the opportunity for Uchenna Nwosu to break out is there, and that's why the expectations are so high. So for me, I see Uchenna Nwosu as a 50-plus tackle kind of dude. Give him more reps, give him more opportunities, and maybe even double-digit sacks, guys. I'd say between 8 and 11 sacks is where I realistically see Uchenna Nwosu's ceiling if utilized properly. And of course, behind Coach Staley, I think the opportunity to be utilized properly is more real than ever. So in the comment section below, guys, and this will be kind of a fun one, let me know what you guys think as far as tackles and sacks that Uchenna Nwosu can bring in, the kind of opportunity that he's going to have to make impacts on this defense, what he's going to look like in that brand new saucy eagle front that Brandon Staley loves to use. I'm really excited to see this new Batman and Robin concept come together with Uchenna Nwosu and Joey Bosa. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for this guy, for this young man, to really earn that payday going into 2022. They actually might even consider the fifth-year option for him. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Good luck to Uchenna Nwosu in 2021. High expectations, but he's a hell of a player, and I think he's up to the challenge. We'll see you guys next time. As always, bolt up and stay frosty.